Welcome to the very first episode of Olney On Air, where we talk about what's happening in Olney, Texas. Population 3,200. That's 3,200 people. What's going on? What's changing? What there is to do in our city. I'm Gina Keating. I'm the editor of the Olney Enterprise newspaper.
I'm Kimberly Smith, Executive Director of the Olney Chamber of Commerce.
Each week, we are going to take you inside the stories making headlines in Olney and Young County. We're going to talk about what's in this week's newspaper, online, and on newsstands every Thursday. And we'll bring in guests to help explain the big issues, the exciting projects, and the people shaping the future of our community.
We'll also be highlighting local businesses, events, schools, sports, music, food, nonprofits, and all the things that make small town life in Olney special. Because if you live in Olney, you already know there's always something happening, and it's usually at the same time.
That's right. So let's get started. Let's start with this week's Olney Enterprise.
The front page was packed.
Yes, it was. And it was mostly about our students, our graduates from Olney High School. The class of 2026 raked in over $1 million in scholarships.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, for about 40 kids. It's pretty amazing.
That's amazing.
So that's down to the kids themselves and also down to their teachers. I wanted to highlight a quote I got from OHS principal Haley Harrelson, who said, "The senior class has been a special group to watch over the years. They worked hard, supported their peers, and represented the school well in academics, extracurricular activities, and community involvement."
Yes, I got to work with this group of kids last year with our flag program that we do for the junior class, and they really are a great group of kids.
Yeah. And so the flag program is going on right now. So
Yes.
I might talk about that.
Yeah, we actually signups are available till May 21st. And so what it is, we work with the junior class at the high school, and they do 7 flags a year. It's $35. A portion of that goes towards the junior class, whether they use it for prom or whatever they need it for. And what we do is I have the schedule. They come on usually they're all on holidays. So they have to come in the morning. They come the day before and pick up the flags. Then they put them out in the morning, and then they pick them up in the afternoon. And I'll just say, whenever those flags are out for those holidays, it looks so good. It's your time to represent for your veterans, to support our junior class, and as well as for Olney to show its patriotism as a whole.
Yeah. The city just looks great with all those flags. So if you are interested in that, contact Kimberly at the Chamber of Commerce. How do they find you?
So you can either go onto our Facebook, where we have a pinned post with the sign up link. You can also call at 564-5445, and I can just sign you up right from there. We take cash, check, or Venmo. So if you have any questions, if you need a flag holder, that's fine. We have our lovely National Honor Society kids that will be running that route the next week or so. And so just let us know before the 21st. We can get you all situated before the first day, which is Memorial Day.
All right. Okay. So let's talk about the kids a little bit more. I got to go to the May 7th Senior Awards Night where all those scholarships were handed out. It's pretty touching to see all the kids on their way out into the world. But we learned that Morgan Simmons is going to be our valedictorian this year.
Yes, and Jeffrey Flores is our 2026 salutatorian.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, kids. It was really awesome to be a part of that with you. Okay, so then our second story on the front page is about the athletic banquet, which is always a very big deal every year. The Olney high school coaches select the best athletes in all the sports, and they have a big banquet, and it's pretty cool. And our photojournalist, Will Sadler, who's helping us today with this podcast, took some amazing photos that you can see
they were great
on Facebook and on our website as well. So take a look at those and find out who all of the big stars were in this year's athletic programs. And thanks also to our new athletic director, Dustin Altmiller, and all of the coaches. Yeah, he's been doing really awesome.
Really great.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, pick up the paper and you'll see that. And of course, the big issue in this week's Olney Enterprise is that we take a deep dive into the Young County runoff election, which is happening on May 26th. There are lots of different races on that ballot, but the ones that we're concerned with here in Olney is the county judge's race. We don't have our precinct commissioner is not up for re-election, Alan Craig. So we are talking to the county judge about what that what the county can do for Olney, basically.
Yeah, early voting will start May 18th at the Civic Center. You can also vote in Graham. And I just want to say it is so important during these local elections that we really get out there and vote. I know there is passion on both sides, but the way that our voices are heard is we get out there and vote. This is something I started voting the minute I could. And I know I'm telling my kids, you've got to get out there and vote, especially for your local elections. These elections are determined by a handful of votes in some cases. So please get out there, let your voice be heard.
Yes, and these are really important local issues to our community. And our two candidates, Wynn Graham, who is the incumbent, who will be with us in just a minute, and John Charles Bullock, who was our past county judge who is seeking reelection, are the two candidates in that race. So please show up. It makes the world of difference to Olney if you will vote. Okay, so last night's city council meeting, not in the paper, but it will be next week, was pretty exciting. We had a transition with two new city council members. We have Sammy Livingston, who is the proprietor of Livingston Gun Dogs, and Colson Ballard, who works over at Tower Extrusion. Those are our two new city council members. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Yay. And Mayor Rogers won a new term. He was unopposed, so not really that exciting.
Good job, Rube.
Yeah, good job. Anyway, so we had a little surprise, which was that our longtime city attorney, Bill Myers, has retired after 49 years of service to the city of Olney. And Dan Branham, who was the assistant city attorney, was voted in by the city council as our new city attorney.
Yes, congratulations, Dan. He is actually a long-running member of our Chamber of Commerce board. So congratulations to him and congratulations to Bill on his retirement.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be a lot of new faces there at City Hall, including our new city administrator, Andy Wolf, who's going to be starting in his office on Monday. He and his family are already here in town and getting all settled in. So welcome, Andy.
Welcome, Andy. Welcome to Olney.
Yeah, so we can't wait to see you, talk to you, hopefully have you on the program. And then the council talked a little bit about the two tax increment reinvestment zones, or TIRZ. And we'll talk to Tom Parker, who is our Olney Economic Development Corporation Executive Director, later on in the show about what that is and how it's going to change Olney, we hope.
Yes, as many times as it's been in the paper. I know I even have some questions and he'll be answering those for us. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I also just want to really mention in the paper to go ahead and check it out. We have some really terrific local voices. We have Rodney Nance, Melissa Edgington, Will Sadler, Dr. Robert Farrow, and his mental health column for seniors and caregivers through the Heritage Program at our own Olney Hamilton Hospital. Right. So pick up a paper, go to the website, check those out. They're really awesome columns every week. I just love reading them.
Yeah, they're just very special people, all with a different perspective. Rodney writes about religion. Melissa's column is called Your Mom Has a Blog, so she writes about women's issues, Bingley. Will also has a slice of life column that I love reading every week. So yeah, check it out. We're really lucky to have such great columnists in our paper.
Yes, we're lucky. Yeah, absolutely.
Now we're going to talk about one of the biggest conversations happening in Young County right now, and that is growth. Our guest today is Young County Judge Wynn Graham, who is running for re-election and is going to talk with us about the major issues facing the county right now. When we talked during our interview, we talked a little bit about the chicken and egg thing about jobs and the fact that people who oppose some of the industrial development that's approached Young County are saying, oh, they don't bring enough jobs, but we don't have enough money to build new housing developments so they can live here. Why is that so hard?
Well, Olney is blessed with a lot of jobs. Tower, Air Tractor, Simco, they are large manufacturing companies and they employ a lot of people, and we're blessed to have them, but they need more workers than we have. And I think it's Tower that has a bus that runs from Wichita Falls into Olney every day. And I hear from the management at Tower that those people would love to live here, and they would live here if we had affordable housing, but we don't have the housing. And so they're coming in, they're making a great wage. I'm going to use Tower for the example, make a great wage at Tower, and then they go back to Wichita Falls, and they're spending it at Psych Center instead of spending it on the main street of Olney. We've got to find a way to capture that revenue inside our cities and inside our counties. And the reason we can't do it right now is there's not an affordable house for these people to buy.
And part of that, just from going to all the city council meetings over the years and so forth, and the OEDC meetings, is it's really expensive to put in all the infrastructure, all of the roads and all of the water lines and everything else. And is it easy for a county like Young County to get that money from the state or to get it ourselves somehow?
Well, grants are, the way we would get it is either through grants or through raising taxes. And grants are very difficult. And you look at where I write a lot of grants. Unfortunately, we don't win a lot of grants. And you look at who's winning these grants, it's the major cities. It's Wichita Falls, Fort Worth, Dallas, San Antonio, Houston. They have departments with anywhere from 20 to 50 people just managing grants.
Yeah.
In Young County,
We have me.
That's
And I'm doing it all by myself, and I can't compete with those larger entities. So other ways to do it is we could raise more revenue. Unfortunately, that would fall on the residents of our county because we don't have a lot of corporate taxpayers to take large portions of the tax burden off our revenues. For example, in Wise County, they have a very large oil and gas revenue base, billions of dollars of oil and gas value that they can tax, and that shifts the tax burden off the residents and onto the oil and gas companies. In Young County, we're down to $40 to $50 million total of our $1.5 billion tax base. That's oil and gas.
wow.
Tower and Air Tractor, at one time, they were nice taxing entities, but their plants have been depreciated and they don't take a large burden of the taxes off of our residents. So if we wanted to support infrastructure through taxes, it would be through our residents unless we could find corporate taxpayers.
All right, Judge Graham. So now let's talk about the third rail of this election, which is tax abatements and the data centers and solar farms that are wanting to get them.
Why are these companies coming to Young County?
Well, for a couple of reasons. One, our real estate prices, our ranch land is cheaper than it is as you get closer to the Metroplex. The other advantage that we have is we have so many large high voltage power lines running through our county that they can hook into.
And also, we have giant tracts of land, right? So they don't have to go to a whole bunch of different people to try to get surface rights.
Yeah, there's large ranches. Along those power lines, there are multiple ranches that are candidates that they could place their project on.
Okay. So this is very interesting because I did invite your opponent to come and be on the show. I emailed him last Tuesday and then I saw him on Saturday at the park and said, hey, we're having this discussion. Would you like to come? And he said no, he would prefer to have his answers given to me via his website, which is, for everybody who wants to look at it, it's bringbulletback.com. Anyway, I was reading his answer to why it's bad to have a solar farm in Young County, and he quoted I think it was some farmland trust, American Farmland Trust, that said that all these millions of acres of farmland is disappearing from rural America and is being developed, right? But if you go to a different tab on that same website, they talk about their smart solar plan, which is how to responsibly install solar panels so that you can grow crops under them or raise cattle or whatever. So that is possible. Anyway, so that was one of the big discussions that people had, was that it was going to take farmland out of Young County that was productive. So that was a big issue that you've had a lot of people come to Commissioner's Court with. But can you talk a little bit about what that abatement was all about and why you guys decided to do it?
So we took a long time to decide whether or not to do an abatement or not. And in the end, the way we looked at it is it was approximately 1/10 of 1% of the land in Young County. and there's about $1.5 to $1.6 billion of taxable value in Young County right now. And then they're talking about building something from $300 to $500 million project. So it was going to be a material increase to our tax base with a small portion of our land being used. Now, I do understand the argument that it takes land out of production. It definitely changes options for that land. I know in Jack County, there's a solar farm going in, and they're talking to a lot of the ranchers in Jack County about leasing them the land to run sheep on because they can go underneath the panels. Goats don't really work because they'll jump up on top of the panels. But there are a lot of options. It's just different. There are options. They're different options. You're not going to run cattle, but you can run other animals. And it is a lease. It's a 40-year lease. And at the end of that lease, it can go right back into whatever type of production that you want it to go into.
So, yes. But there are going to be some real benefits from as soon as I think we talked about this, as soon as the first shovel goes into the earth, they are going to be mitigating some stuff that is going to happen. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. The first thing is once they start construction, they owe Young County $300,000. That $300,000 is going to be used to fund volunteer fire departments so that they can have some extra money to buy equipment and training and things that they need. And then the rest of the money is going to go to the sheriff's office so that they can up patrols, possibly add a person. Who knows? It'll be the sheriff's decision on what he wants to use that money for. But it's going to go to the sheriff's department to help offset some of the costs that they have. Once they finish construction, they'll begin their pilot payments, and they'll pay $1.1 million per year to the county that we can use for anything, including decreasing taxes to our residents.
So that's pretty amazing. And I want to point out something that I pointed out in my story. So please go and read the paper online or go pick it up on a newsstand. And I've written about this before. We are a rural county. Jesse Blackman, our chief appraiser, told me that we really only tax on about a third of the taxable value of the market value of our property.
Sure.
Because of all the ag exemptions,
Sure.
right? So if we were to bring a solar farm that's on ag land, you're actually increasing the value of that land to the county in a way, just bringing so much more taxable value to it while allowing the landowner to continue to keep that abatement.
Sure. 98% of the rural land in Young County is taxed with an ag exemption. And in essence, that's a tax abatement on that land. And this takes it out of a tax abatement, makes that land tax at full value, and then there's a tax on top for what they build on top of the land.
And did they not agree in the abatement that they have to hire as many local workers as possible, and they also have to buy all their stuff here, so we get the sales tax on top of that?
They are contractually obligated to declare Young County as the port of entry into Texas to pay a sales tax in Young County. And that's, if we did not have a tax abatement, they could declare the the port in Houston. They could declare when they cross the Texas border from Louisiana. They could declare it any place they want, but they are now contractually obligated to declare Young County.
So all those solar panels, all the stuff that they need to build it.
Be taxed in Young County.
Okay, so yeah.
And I just had a question about the land that sold for the solar farm. Was that land being farmed before they sold it, or was it they just have an ag exemption? Was it a working farm and then they sold, or was it just they just got the ag exemption?
I'm not sure. It was an out-of-county landowner.
Okay.
And they owned a nice chunk of land. They had an ag exemption on it. How many cows were on it? I don't know. You see a lot of tracts of land with an ag exemption, and they're not commercial ag.
Right.
They just
That's what I
have
was
a couple of cows out there
just to get the exemption.
just to get
Okay,
yeah.
that's fine.
And I don't know what this case was.
Oh, okay. All right. Curious.
Yes, no, that's a very good question. And I've made a lot of people mad by asking whether or not we should have a review of all the ag exemptions.
Yeah. Nobody wants their tax exemption to go away.
Exactly. But they don't want anybody else to have one.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's talk about the data center, because that, when you talk about the solar farm and what you guys negotiated on the solar farm, when we talk about the data center, which people are really scared of because there are so many negative stories in the news right now about them using up so much water, they're using up all the energy and making all the electric bills go up. There's all these stories about how they make noises that are going to scare away all the wildlife and stuff like that. But in fact, you and some of the commissioners went over to, was it Garland, and looked at a data center and
toured a data center there.
Right. And so anyway, so you've seen one and you know what it looks like.
One.
So
Been on top of one.
It's basically a big building that looks like a Walmart, and it has a whole bunch of computer servers, kind of like the ones that we have in our houses. They're just a lot bigger inside of that. And there's a bunch of old air conditioners on the outside. Is that how you would describe it?
That's pretty fair categorization of it. So it's a large industrial looking building. The one I saw was landscaped all around. You really couldn't tell what it was. It just looked like a large building. And in fact, there was a large apartment complex on one side of it. And then on two sides of it, there were apartment complexes. And the commissioners and I walked around the apartment complex, and we saw residents, and we asked them how much noise or how were they inconvenienced by the data centers across the street. And we couldn't find one person that knew that there were data centers in there. They just knew it was an industrial building. They had no idea. When you're walking around the data centers, and the one we went and looked at was a Facebook data center. That's what was inside. On three sides of it, you couldn't hear a thing. On the fourth side, where all the generators were, you could hear it when you were right on it. But as you started walking away, you really couldn't hear it once you got a little bit of distance away from it. But there's no vibration. There was no sound. But one thing I want to be on the record, Gina, about is the Commissioners Court did not recruit this data center to Young County. We did not encourage them to choose Young County. They found a tract of land in Young County, and they optioned that land. And that's how we find ourselves in this situation. But we did not recruit this data center here. Now, they have not officially asked us for an abatement yet. They haven't officially done anything yet. They've had informal conversations with a lot of people, including the city of Graham, who they want to have some sort of partnership or arrangement with. But they have yet to actually officially approach the county for anything.
Okay, yes. And so the land that they are looking to lease is private land.
Private land.
Yes. So they literally came in here, looked at where the power lines were, and said, this place looks good. And then they found a landowner who would lease them this land. It's about, 900 acres?
It's about 850 acres.
Okay.
And it's outside the city of Graham. And there are two giant industrial power lines running through it. And that's why they picked it, is because they would actually have two different power lines in theory that they could hook into.
And so basically they went to the private landowner
Yes.
and said, hey, we are interested in leasing this land. We'll give you whatever that amount is. And they negotiated directly with the landowner. The Commissioners Court, the county judge, nobody had any knowledge or involvement in that, right?
The first time I heard about it was after they had purchased an option from the landowner to buy their land from them.
Yeah. And
I guess my question is about this. I know they haven't come to y'all with a proper asking for an abatement, but will it still, without the abatement, would it still move forward?
I don't know. That's maybe not. I have no idea. There's some days that I think it's that they would build no matter what. There's other days I feel like they have to have a tax abatement to be here. I don't know the answer to that. And I don't think anybody knows the answer to that.
until it happens. Okay, so let's move on to the whole abatement idea.
Let's just say that we decide that we don't want to do a tax abatement.
Yeah.
And they're going to build a $10 billion data center, which that's great.
Yeah.
So we'll get 100% of that revenue, but we won't get a penny of that until anywhere from 3 to 5 years after they start construction because it's going to be I was told it's a 7-year construction cycle to build the $10 billion data centers. Now, that's from start to finish. They'll be building data center 1, and then once they finish data center 1, they'll start data center number 2. So it'll come on incrementally. But the first data center we wouldn't actually see a tax dollar from anywhere from 3 to 5 years after the start of construction because of the length of time it's going to take to build it. And then plus, it depends upon when they finish it. It won't get appraised until January 1 of the next year, and then they won't pay it until January 1 of the next year. And so you're going to have years and years of that construction cycle where we're going to have a bunch of people coming into our county. They're going to be using our resources. They're going to put a huge demand on our law enforcement. And we're not going to have an extra penny to hire new officers, new dispatch, new whatever it is we need to buy until it actually goes on the rolls and we can tax it. So you're going to have this huge period of time that we'll have to self-fund all that increased demand on our resources.
Which could essentially fall on the residents of
It would 100% fall on the residents. And whether or not we get a data center in Young County, and we can debate all day long whether that's good or bad, the data centers are coming.
Yeah.
So if it's not in Young County, there's an Archer City data center project that they're talking about. There's a Wilbarger County. There's a Throckmorton County. There's multiple Jack County. Every single county has a potential data center project going on right now. They all won't get built, but a percentage of them are going to get built. And so if we don't get one here, there's going to be one in the counties around us. And so if that's the case, we're going to have a drain on our resources with no revenue.
For a family like mine, the TIRZ, and wanting to purchase a home, I know that the issue we've ran into is finding a home that fits our family of 6.
Sure.
Because these older homes were not built to have, I don't know why, though, I don't know, whatever the layout is, they're just not built for big families like ours. And so when you look at, like, for the TIRZ, like building these homes where it makes the land build ready, which saves us a ton of money, like it's already ready to go, but also being able to like tailor it to our family's needs. That's such a huge asset to this community for us. And that's something I'm really looking forward to. And I've been following it very closely because I'm just hoping that it stays and it goes through, because I know I'm not the only one that has been just waiting and biding our time for the chance to get that home that's our forever home that we're not going to grow out of in a year. No.
So I'm really excited about the TIRZ and the way, and there's 2 TIRZs, TIRZ 1 and TIRZ 2, and those 2 TIRZs should create anywhere from 120 to 150 new homes inside the city limits of Olney.
Yeah.
That's an incredible growth explosion that could happen here in Olney. And that TIRZ will allow money to get reinvested into the infrastructure of the city. And the way I look at it from Young County is that's an investment. It's an investment in Olney, and it's an investment in Young County. And I am thrilled that Young County could participate in that.
All right. Thank you so much for explaining all this stuff. And just everybody go out and vote. It's next week on Monday through Friday, and then the next Tuesday. So you want to have anything you want to say to voters?
All right. Early voting starts 1 week from today on May 18th, and the election is on May 26th. And I think it's very important that the citizens of Young County let their voice be heard, come to the polls, vote. Typically in a runoff election, turnout is really low, and I hope that Young County will reverse that trend, and we'll have a ton of people come out and express their opinion into the direction of the county. And I hope that you'll choose me. I would love to continue trying to promote Young County and the city of Olney for the next 4 years.
Okay, now it's time for Kimberly's Business of the Week.
Great, thank you. So the Chamber the last couple of years has really tried to work on showcasing all of our members in the community Today's business of the week is Ace Hardware of Olney, and we have brought on Kris Cam, who is one of the co-owners. Welcome, Kris.
Thank you. Thank you both for having me. I'm excited.
All right, Kris. So it has been a little over a year since y'all have been open, and tell us about how that first year has gone and something new you've learned about being in Olney.
It's been an exciting time, but we have thoroughly enjoyed getting to be here. It is, of course, it's myself, my husband Rand, and then his brother Jeff, my brother-in-law, and the three of us. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of work, a lot of hours. We're learning to balance that a little bit. But Ollie has just welcomed us with open arms, and it's been just a real blessing because we feel like we saw a need, and it was very much in agreement that this was where we wanted to come. And people have just been so positive and so thankful, and it just has blessed us over and over too. But the people of Olney are just amazing and precious and welcoming. Rand and I have thoroughly enjoyed living here. We've been here 2 years now, and it's just been a joy.
Great. That's awesome. And not only has the community poured into y'all, but I feel that y'all have really stepped it up as far as working with local organizations or local nonprofits. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That was definitely one of the things. It's actually in our mission statement, was to be able to give back to the community. And so we went into this knowing that was what we wanted to do. And veterans and the American Legion, those have always been real near and dear to my heart. Of course, and we love doing stuff with the kids. And so that was very purposeful that we wanted to be able to do that. And that's fun and exciting that we've been able to do that.
Yeah, great. I've been to a couple of your things, and even your opening weekend, they had something aimed for families, so you could bring your kids on opening weekend. You've done multiple things since then. We've really enjoyed it. My kids love that store, which is a really cool thing for me because then I can go for my DIY projects. So we did hear that y'all recently were recognized from the Ace National. Can you tell us about that?
So Ace, one of the reasons we wanted to stay with Ace Hardware was because of they have a servant heart at the top. And so they have these programs that encourage stores. Ace is essentially a big co-op. So we own our store. We have a lot of say in what goes on in our store. It is not corporate owned. So they encourage the business owners to reach for higher goals, essentially. And so they have these different levels, and the higher your level, they have proven stores perform better, meets the needs of their customers much better. And so it's just a win-win for everybody. So right now, our level that we made it to is called Platinum. And that will open up some other programs and benefits that will definitely help customers ultimately. Pinnacle is the highest one. And so it's right above Platinum. So we're almost there, and we were excited about that.
And when you initially opened, what were y'all thinking? Were y'all thinking y'all would be that high this early, or?
It was a goal. Yes. That's the goal? Yes. It truly was a goal to at least within the first year and a half to do that. As the year went on, it was like, okay, maybe by year 2. And so just with all that is required and the time for it. And so it was exciting we're like a year and 3 months. Yeah. So 15 months. That was very exciting. The other little thing that I'll just go ahead and throw in there is that we get little scorecards. And at the end of April, our store here in Olney, Texas, is number 2 in paint. Just everything paint, not just paint sales, but paint brushes, rollers, and all of that for our size store. So they rate it for our size store, our footprint.
In Texas?
In Texas.
Oh,
In
wow.
Texas. Yes. Wow. They do that like per state kind of thing.
All right. But I know the answer to that. That's Cindy. Lord, Cindy is an amazing employee. We've been blessed with little Ember. She has come along and done just really amazing with that, with teaching her and that customer service that we just expect. Yeah. And so we were very excited to get the platinum level and number 2 in the state with paint kind of came, I think, within a couple of days. So it was very exciting and gosh, just very blessed and thankful.
Yes, absolutely. And I did see recently that y'all had an expanded, I felt like a pretty big gardening section.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, been excited about that. Definitely.
Yep, that is one of my favorites. You know that I came in there, 2 weeks ago, and I saw that there was going to be a $5 off on the hydrangeas. And I said, oh, God, I love these. They're so beautiful. I want to buy a bunch of them and put them on the west side of my house. And you said no.
Well, that is one of the things that I was very excited to get to do here in Olney, was to be able to offer. It's a small garden center, but at least it's something that is here, and we feel like it's definitely fill the need here. But we've been trying to educate our people, and so to help our sweet customers, yes, hydrangeas are not fond of the harsh West Texas sun. Right. So yes, I encouraged you not to do that.
I know, but that bothers me.
I know. And they're pretty. We do still have a few left from Mother's Day that turned out really good. But we have I think I encouraged you to get the little butterfly bush.
You did.
Yes, and we've got lantanas. Those love the sun, and they're perennial when they'll come back, like the butterfly bush does. The salvia is another real favorite for the Texas sun that will do good. And we've got shade-loving kind of perennials like the hydrangea.
Oh, yeah.
They are perennials. They will come back, but they do need some protection. Hibiscus, those are gorgeous and a little more tropical, but they have a hardy variety. It's a hardy hibiscus that will handle the winters in Texas that we do get up here. And so
I did not know that. I was worried about hydrangeas because the hibiscus has the cold winter, yeah.
Yes, and they do have a tropical variety that's South Texas. That's not secure. Yeah, but the ones that we have at the store will work for our area really good. And so, of course, then fun annuals that have a little bit brighter color, a little faster. Those are always fun to have. Some of those, like the little pentas or impatiens and periwinkles and stuff like that, they do well in our area.
Yeah, and you have all the stuff. So you can go. I think I must have bought, I don't know how much soil last year for me too. So yeah, you got it all. You got all the tools, all the fertilizer, everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I want you to know, I bought some, I can't remember why, I think it was sage last year and a couple different oreganos, and they came back up this year.
Oh, good.
Can you believe it?
They're supposed to.
Yeah. So they're looking really good.
It's exciting.
Yes.
We did fantastic with the vegetables this year. We definitely still have some vegetables that they need to go ahead and find a home. And so they're buy one, get one free right now, and till they are gone.
Ooh.
And so, yes, it's not too late to get, especially watermelon, cantaloupe, and tomatoes and peppers. They like some of the warmer weather.
Okay.
And so this is still a good time. And go ahead and get them in the ground now.
Yeah. So my question is, I have what they call a black thumb, meaning that I fill everything I can. So for someone like me, what would you recommend for a beginner, maybe black thumb gardener?
What's your heart? Really, the lantana, if you have a sunny spot, that one is so hardy and comes back just gorgeous every year. It takes a little bit of pruning at the end of the season, or I guess in the winter, late winter, it takes a little bit of pruning the dead to make that get bigger and bushier every year. But it really is easy. Really, I think like in the shade area, if you wanted like just a little annual, the begonias are pretty hardy too.
Okay.
And they come in like the little bronze leaf. Those are they're flower flowers. They're smaller. The lantana will get bushier. Coleus, that's a green and red little plant that it can get a foot or some tall.
Oh.
They're pretty hardy. So
Have to be hardy to stand up to me.
She needs the leave alone kind. No, but you don't have to water too much.
Absolutely. Now, there's a really cool plant that has been overlooked so far. It is called ajuga, or bugle herb. It's a ground cover, and it works good kind of in a shady area, and it's very hardy. You could grow it in a container. Also, it will have some little blue flowers that will come up, but it's very hardy and works really good. You know, the grass won't grow in a spot.
Oh, yeah.
It's fantastic for that. It stays low. So you can actually walk on it a little. Not high traffic, but some walking.
Yeah, that's
It's-
awesome.
So, yeah, that's a good shade one that it's hard to kill, too.
Absolutely. Yes. And I really think that's why it's so useful to have Ace Hardware of Olney here. Because for me, I like to talk to somebody and we can ask Google and we can ask chat, we can do all these things, but it's just so different to talk to somebody and tell them your needs, what you're trying to do. I know Gina was telling me she built her own deck with y'all's help.
Dad, thanks to Rand and you. I mean,
It was a lot of fun.
yeah, it was. But I did come in and say, I want to do it like this. And Rand was like, yeah, no. So and he even cut the boards for me because I don't have a circular saw.
Right.
So he cut all the boards. So all I had to do was bring it home and put it together.
Yeah.
It was great. It took me literally a weekend.
Good.
Yeah. It was really good.
Yes.
Which makes me think that maybe I could do it.
You could. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yes.
No, yeah.
And that's why I say over and over again, our little town of Olney, we have such great stores and Ace Hardware. It's just such a great town. And not only do we get to see you whenever we go to the store, but we also get to see you in the community. And I think that that's one of the things about being in a rural town is it's not just somebody you see at the store and you never see them again. I've never seen anybody I've met at Home Depot ever again.
Right.
But I've seen Kris multiple
Unless you run into
places.
somebody.
Yeah. So that just is one of the ways that Olney is so special.
It is. And there's just, with us being able to come in here now, there's really, you can get most everything that you really need. Even like Graham doesn't have everything and people still have to go out of town because it's not big city. There's pros and cons to that. And no, we can't get everything, but I wouldn't trade the small town friendliness, the closeness of the community, and people willing to help.
Yeah.
And that's the pro all day long that outweighs any kind of con.
Yeah. And I will just say, I went in there looking for a grill for my husband for his birthday, and y'all were able to order it and get it to me. And they even brought it to our house and had it set up in our backyard so he could just go out there for his birthday. So that is just, you don't get that anywhere else. I'm sorry. You just don't.
And the cool thing, too, just to add, Ace has now made it where we can do little supplemental orders that will come in. The main truck comes on Wednesday. We can get supplemental orders in on Friday and Monday.
Yeah.
And so for certain things like that, that makes it a lot more available. Yeah, we may run out or we don't carry it, but hey, I can get it within a couple of days, and which competes with most other online delivery places.
Similar.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
similar. Yes. And so that
Even though it's not going to get ruined in packaging or getting shipped and all the things when I got my grill, it was fine. It wasn't dented. I just throw it on my porch.
yeah, good luck putting it together. Absolutely. Yeah,
Awesome.
definitely.
That's our business of the week with Kris Cam. Thank you so much for coming. And we are
to be
so happy to have you. And we get over there for those BOGOs on those plants. I cannot remember the name of it. The BOGO on the plant. Oh, the veggies. The vegetables. Yes, because at home is best. And I will maybe try my hand at that.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for coming.
Thanks. Both. Enjoyed it.
One thing about Olney, when something breaks, somebody around here definitely knows how to fix it.
And that brings me to one of the favorite phrases that I learned since moving to Olney, which is Southern engineering. And today we're talking with someone who is helping engineer the future of Olney, Tom Parker, Executive Director of the Olney Economic Development Corporation. Thank you for being here today, Tom. You're going to explain to us what a TIRZ is. That's a term that's been in the newspaper almost every week for at least 6 months. What it is, how cities benefit from that, and how these development tools could help Olney grow our businesses, housing, infrastructure, and long-term tax revenue. So welcome to our program.
Thank you for having me.
So basically what's going on here is we passed this thing. We decided to form this last year because the county had reappraised our entire city. And that extra revenue that the county would have gotten, they're going to give to us to basically find low interest loans, matching funds, developers who can get paid back, right? Is that how that works?
In some cases, it's straight reimbursement, but it's, yes, that money is set aside. It is both the county and the city's incremental increase that goes into that fund. In some cases, and the hospitals decided to participate in this, the hospital would be able to have access to some of these funds as well. It's a fun, think of it, and some people like this, some people don't. It's like a Christmas club. We're going to put money aside and then eventually be able to have that money to use for projects that will make it better, safer, healthier for the community. It's the delta is the difference. The increment is whatever that value is, and that can change and will continue to change. So say typically we have a 2.5 to 3.5% increase in valuations on an annual basis, most parts of Texas. Because of improvements, some properties may, in some cases, even double in value. And so that additional tax revenue on those valuations go into this fund. It's truly transformative. It's a way of putting money together, much like a Christmas club, incremental money every week until you get to that till Christmas morning. And then you say, look, we've got this, we want this thing to be bought, this thing to be seen to fruition, and there's a way to fund it.
Okay, but just to be sure, you said this is not a tax.
It's not a tax.
It doesn't mean the taxes are going up. The taxes are not going to change. We're just taking a portion of the taxes because our property taxes increase every year around 2 to 3% in Texas. It's been really bad lately because of all the people moving into the Metroplex. But it's a way for us to take part of that increase and find other money that will help us do stuff that we normally couldn't do, like fixing our roads, fixing the water pipes, right? What are some of the concrete projects that we might get done with this TIRZ?
You just brought up a couple of really good ones. Water infrastructure could be done in real time because that money, once after 18 months, some cases 3 years, as that revenue has been shown to come into the account, then we can go out and borrow money because we can demonstrate that the revenue is there and that it will be available to satisfy a loan if we should secure one. So large projects like infrastructure, complete new water lines in town, water towers.
Would that be amazing? We have 9 water main breaks every single month. That's our average.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be amazing.
Yeah, we laughed that since I moved here 15 years ago on Elm Street behind my home, we had 33 water breaks on that line, 17 that were major, that required major construction to fix those. We've probably got more clamps in Elm Street than we have pipe at this point.
Yeah, it is crazy. And so going back to the Southern engineering part of this, you as Mayor Pro Tem and now OEDC Executive Director have been trying to get money for us for water, for infrastructure, for road fixing. But what happens and why did you turn to this idea of a TIRZ?
Because the tax base is so low and has historically been very low for Olney.
Meaning we're poor.
We're rich in a lot of other things, but from an economic standpoint, yes, we lack the financial resources to be able to take on these large projects. And that's why the Christmas Club thing really works. This is a way to save that money aside and then borrow money and put that money into the community, which will raise the valuations, raise the economic grit of the town. And in most cases, what we're really looking to do is to bring in additional businesses, additional residents to move to our town. A lot of people don't understand how great it is to be here. They drive through and they think it's a sleeker little town and we don't have anything. The quality of life that we have here is, while it's demonstrable and a lot of people understand what that is and seek that, when they look at the aesthetics, they just aren't willing to pull the trigger. We've all had trouble trying to recruit people to town, that we know that talent is there and that we could do these things. We need people, but we need financial resources as well. We found that TIRZ, can be a protracted story, but with the EDC, one of the things that I did initially was I started with the financial side of things, looking at what programs were out there. We really hadn't had a way, because of the Type A industrial development board that we had, we really hadn't looked at what these quality of life things could be. And so there's a lot of funding that's available that is, to your point you brought up initially, matching funds that are out there. There are grants that are there. But if you don't have in-kind funds, you can't qualify for it. These TIRZ will allow us to have that bank account that will allow us to go apply and really begin to dig in and bring some of these things home to Olney, which incrementally will add to the quality of life here and bring other people in.
Right, and what we want is more businesses, right? Because that sales tax revenue that we get, it's property tax revenue that residents don't have to pay.
Correct.
So we want that's what you're trying to do is bring the businesses in here.
We're taking a multifaceted approach to this. We're looking for some quality of life things. We've got the lake project that we're trying to put together. There's water infrastructure that we've really dug into. I'm on the Texas Water Development Board. First time in over 20 years, we have a representative to the regional water development board. They had data that when I joined them, that was over 20 years old. We haven't been there, and this is an effort to bring all of these things together. We're at the point where this could leverage and change Olney to what people reminisce about the 70s and 80s and how great it was here. We can bring a lot of that back into town with just a few shops being lit up and just a few more people living here. We don't need 300 to move here. If we could bring 10 families a year, think of what that does for the school. Think of what that does for the utilization of the hospital. Downtown, that's that much more discretionary income that we got to spend in the businesses that we do at. It allows us to draw other businesses and other industries here.
Yeah. So let's talk about the housing issue also, because we have two different TIRZ.
Yes, correct.
So really quick though, before you talk about the housing TIRZ, explain what the zone is. Like, where is it? Because it's a geographical zone and everything that's in that zone can benefit from the additional revenue that you're going to bring in.
Correct. We have an area that runs basically, if people that know Olney, runs from Bumpers down there by the Country Club Road, runs north to basically Dunnigan Road at the north end of town, runs west to basically, that's going to be D Street, and comes down to Oak Street, and then runs along Main Street, Elm Street, runs south to Elm Street and runs Elm and Hamilton north and south out to the end of town, basically out to Hager Road.
So it looks kind of like an L.
It's a big L. It's a big upside down L.
And so it's kind of like over by the old water tower, like that
Yes.
residential neighborhood, and then all the way along Main Street.
All along Main Street, yes.
Okay.
North and south on 79. So basically from Tower, actually south of Tower, north to the end of Olney, and then along Main Street.
And you also said that housing area is going to possibly get pocket parks and things like that. It's a little dilapidated there, but you have some ideas about how to make that a lot more livable and
Yes.
attractive to families.
We've talked to several developers. We're probably at 10 or 12 at this point, and everyone sees the value of doing pocket parks. Pocket parks allow us to basically rejuvenate that into town that brings a more of a cohesive area for neighborhoods to develop. And we're really looking at programs to bring people in and allow them to maintain ownership of those properties for extended periods of time. We're not looking for a move in, flip and go. We want to develop neighborhoods in those areas. The pocket parks can do that. We also have, just from a foot traffic standpoint, kids getting to the parks, they're on the south side of town. If we give them places on the north end that they don't have to go across Main Street, 114, 79, they can stay in that safer area. That makes it, family can feel more safe and secure about their children being out playing in that area. And we want to develop, that's a quality of life thing that we want to develop.
Yeah, but
In that L shape, how many acres is that?
We're looking at roughly 1,000 acres, almost 1,400 acres, depending on how you size it and what's in it.
the big problem when we talked about housing over the last several years is that it's really expensive to dig up the streets and put in all the sewers and electrical and all that other stuff. And we just don't have that money. And we tried to get it from the state, didn't we?
Yes, those programs really, unless you're destitute, there really isn't any money from the state to do anything for that type of infrastructure. So, yeah, we're not there. Thankfully, we're not there.
We're poor, but we're not poor enough. Yeah, it's like I remember he was saying that you tried to get some money for the water treatment plant, which is 103 years old at this point, but our water quality wasn't bad enough.
It's too good.
It's too good, so we couldn't get any money.
So yes, it can be frustrating. The requirements that both state and federal legislators, let's use that word, place on these funds can be very labor intensive and really don't make a lot of sense. There are a lot of unintended consequences that come from some of this. And because they don't live it, they don't really understand what they're legislating sometimes. God love them for doing what they do, but it behooves us to be in Austin knocking on doors and trying to get them to understand that what they said may not have been what they intended. And we do that too. We go to Austin, we fight for that as well. We need to be good communicators with them. And I think we're doing a much better job of doing that lately than we have in the last 10 years anyway. And TIRZ are not new. They're 30 years old for the most part. They're used everywhere. If you go to a shopping mall anywhere outside of this part of Texas, it probably was developed using TIRZ dollars.
Yeah.
So quality of life parks, water parks, a lot of those are done with TIRZ dollars. It's a reimbursement to the developer at some level to offset their investment to get them to come into an area and to do those quality of life improvements that we need.
And so what I learned from David Earl, and this is the last question, is that everybody agreed to participate who's in the current commissioner's court and who is on the hospital board and the city council. But if we don't get a project going within the next year or something like that, they can just say, you know what, we're done. We don't want to do this. The county can pull out. We won't have that money. And then we are kind of back to square one, aren't we?
Yes, I don't think anyone went into this with the idea that it was going to be a short-term fix. I think most everyone that reviewed these documents and look at how these projects work long-term, and that's really the only way that they work, much like a Christmas club. You don't see any money until Thanksgiving. You save all year, but you don't really have anything to play with till Thanksgiving. So we need to have that participation long-term. Short-sightedness in any type of development never gives you the fruition that you're really looking for. This is really a 40-year project. We need to be looking for things that will have return for 100 years. Water plant, infrastructure, hospitals, schools in that private education that can be brought in, universities. We could be doing a lot of things because of the industry that we have here. We need training to be done here. There's a lot of things that we could do. The Olney Savings Building is a great example. That's a 40,000 square foot building that with a few dollars that could be turned into a university campus.
What about the Hamilton Hotel? So that would be fantastic to have a hotel like that in town.
That's number 3 on our list. So it's a building that the EDC owns. So we're very cognizant of what needs to be done there. And we've been working on that for a year.
Okay. And imagine this. We have a rainstorm and it doesn't flood downtown.
Oh my goodness.
We'd be able to walk across Grand Avenue and not have to go halfway up the block.
Yeah.
Grand is a project that we're really very excited about. If we can create a town square, we lack a town square. So if we could take Grand Avenue and take that area in front of the hotel and then in front of the courthouse that we just did and take that section, ballot that off, put lower weight traffic and really make it more of a square. And that could give us a town center that we lack completely now.
The chamber could really benefit from a town square and the town as a whole. But
As all.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming. And thank you. That was great. Yeah. And telling us all about this. I think it was really helpful for people to know what's going on and what could be possible in Olney.
There's lots going on.
Let's talk about coming events. What's happening around town?
Okay, so this weekend we have our 3rd week of our live music series that we're calling Music in May. This week's musical guest is Tempting Disaster. They do classic rock, classic country. They have the dance floor all set up. So get your boots on. And if you love two-stepping like I do, just go on out there. It's a family-friendly event. We've been trying to have food trucks out there. And the weather has just been so wonderful every week. So go ahead and go out there. The chamber also has our Small Business Academy. Our next class is going to be on May 21st at 5:30 p.m. at the Olney Civic Center. We have partnered up with Midwestern's SBDC program. This week's class will be on business funding and how to write a business plan to get money. That's a pretty important one.
Oh, yeah.
That same day, we also have our chamber mix and mingle at Archer and Gun from 6 to 8 p.m. If you have any questions, if you feel like your business you want to be on the show with us, we would love to have you. If you would like to join, we are still taking chamber memberships. You can call me at 940-564-5445 or come on down to our Mix and Mingle so we can have you join our wonderful group of members.
Yeah, it is pretty fun. I am a member, by the way.
Yes, she is.
Okay. And also, let's talk about Olney High School graduation is getting
Yes, congratulations.
Yeah.
Class of 26. Does that make you feel
Yes.
mean that very much?
Okay. So just quick mention, the Olney Senior Cup Center has always got wonderful events. In addition to having serving lunch every weekday at noon, it's a great resource, a great bargain at $6 or $7, I think, depending on your age. But they've got home cooked meals every day. You can go in there, have some great company. They also have game nights. They have chair yoga. They have bingo. They have all kinds of stuff that's really fun.
It's super fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I just wanted to say about the music in May. I've been to both of the ones so far, and they've been wonderful. And they're free. So, yeah, no reason to not just go to Tom Griffin Park, park your car, and get out there with your little chair, which I did, and watch this great music and just enjoy being around your neighbors.
Right. And that was actually a big part of our sponsor is Danny Morgan, who is a local resident, and he just posted in rants and raves, and I was like, let's work together. And so we just partnered up with him. Also, thank you to Air Tractor for sponsoring. They were able to sponsor our porta potties as well as Project Saltworks. So that was really great that we were able to have bathrooms out there. You have the playground for the kids. It's such a great family event for everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Very laid back, just super fun.
yes,
Yeah.
great night for the family.
Yep. All right. So I guess that takes us to the end of our inaugural episode of Olney On Air.
Yes, this was really fun. I had a great time.
Me too.
Yes.
Okay, so thanks for joining us as we celebrate the people, businesses, schools, history, challenges, and opportunities for people in Olney, Texas. If you have any ideas for stories, guests, topics we should cover, or community events we should spotlight, please contact us through the Olney Enterprise newspaper. That's editor@olneyenterprise.com, or message us on Facebook or Instagram. Tell everybody about our new social media.
Yes, Olney On Air is also available on all of the social media channels. So we have Instagram is Olney On Air, Facebook is Olney On Air, YouTube is Olney On Air, and we will be on Buzzsprout, where eventually we will be on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We'll keep y'all notified with those updates. But for right now, all of our social media will be live and ready to go as soon as this is done.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, I'm Kimberly Smith.
And I'm Gina Keating, and thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.